Rabbi, what is the craziest thing a student has said to you? Like a moment where you're just like, is this what I need to be doing in life?
You want to know if you.
I want to know if I like at least
If
make
you
like top 10.
the winner.
No. Like I know I'm not gonna win, but if I can make at least like top 10, top 15, I'd be content.
Yeah, yes, you definitely did.
Hey, Rabbi.
Okay.
I feel honored. Tip Moshiach. Let's go.
Okay, Ariel, if you can do this out. Thank you. Wait a second, I gave you something on the bottom there. Oh, here it's here. Yeah, I got it.
Thank you. Oh, this is like. Oh, I don't know whether it's okay.
Thank you.
I love.
Okay. So first of all, let me start with something that I left off with on Wednesday. Remember I told you Wednesday, the Rambam describes how when Mashiach comes, the world will be filled only with the knowledge of Hashem, because all other Gashmitic pursuits, everything will be at our fingertips. All the pleasures of the world will be so accessible like the dust of the earth. So in line with what we always are mentioning in the Rebbe's words, that if we look around in the world, we see things that we never saw before in history, which only helps us see more clearly how we're closer to Mashiach. So I prepared this. I wanted you to look at it. It's an article. If you don't mind, Ariel, to pass it around. This is what I was telling you about, and I underlined it, so you don't have to read every single word. It's not a book of Torah, Chas v'Shalom, it's just an article. But if you look at the part that's underlined, I just want to go over with you as it's given out. Again, the whole article, this is Bill Gates writing or speaking about artificial intelligence, how it's changing the world. And then everybody will be using robots for everything and anything. So at the end of his article, this is what he writes: looking still further out into the future, Gates said he believes artificial intelligence, AL, may eventually force us to redefine work itself and the role it plays in human life. He suggests that we may evolve towards higher pursuits. He said like this: a day will come when we won't be so focused on just working and avoiding diseases. We'll need some new spiritual cause that binds us other than just the basics, because all the basics will be taken care of by these robots and by all the advancements and progress that there is with technology. So basically, what we're seeing here is that scientists are speaking from a perfectly scientific perspective, and they're saying that the world is heading in a direction where everyone will be busy with spiritual pursuits. Isn't that something that we have never ever heard anything like it before. That's it. So what is it about? This is not a class that I'm here to support Bill Gates. He doesn't need my support. I'm just bringing out the point where you could look at the Gashmistical world and see how Mashiach is approaching. The second thing I wanted to give out was this. Now, this is part of a book that has a few hundred pages. But there are more books like this. And like I said, I was teaching the class, and then some of the students made me aware of this book. This is a book that just points out, if you don't mind, Ariel, again, there's a whole list here, pages of pages. These are all, I'm not saying that I agree with everything that they look at as a great achievement, but most of the things are things we can all relate to. And for everything, they have a graph that actually shows you numbers and figures that they did research and took statistics, and they see clearly black and white how in these areas the world today is so much better than it ever was before. And only recently, it's not that it's been a pattern since 3,000 years ago. Only in the recent 100 or 200 years do we see a pattern of improvement in all these areas that they write about over here.
What book is this?
You have the title of the book? Huh?
Oh, maybe it's
No, it's not here. Actually, I missed that page. I have it downstairs, so in case anyone really wants to read it and look at the actual diagrams, I can show it to you. Thank you. And so they have poverty, the United States. I'm looking at page number 116. From 1960 to 2016, they show you a huge shift in where was poverty then, how many people suffered from poverty, how many people suffer from poverty now. And also they have poverty globally, like on the world. You can't compare how the whole world was more of a poor world and how the world today doesn't have it. Famine, deaths from war, and all these things, every one of them. Okay, so that's that. And now we'll go back to our class in doing the Rebbe's Sichos. What was that? What?
No, Mrs. Nemi, you can hear like she's going in to the CFO or whatever she's doing.
get two classes in one.
Okay, so you all have this that I gave out. This is the sheets of the terms and phrases. So as we go along, we'll fill in more. I want you to check off number 36, because we learned this in the Rambam. What is number 36? So each one of these
Can you
that
put
are,
it up again?
which one?
The page.
I have a few extras if someone's missing. A list.
What's this book?
It's not a book. It says it's just terms that are related to Geula and Mashiach. Like Kates, Yemais Mashiach, Kibbutz Goliath, Tchias HaMesim, just a list of terms. Yeah. Not too many, but I have 1 and 2. You want Rivka? Okay. You're welcome. So, Lineder, I will prepare for next time. So I want to just point out those that we already covered, those we already did. So one of them is number 36. What does it say? What does it mean? Umala haaretz de'es Hashem. Right. So this is what we had in the Rambam that we did Wednesday. That was in fact the last words. And the world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem. That's one of the phrases that are associated with Mashiach. Another one, number 31. Anybody? Number 31?
Something nation.
Okay, something about the nations. We're getting someplace.
No,
Any other words
no,
anybody
no.
recognizes? The word chereb?
Like a sword?
Chereb means a sword. Okay, now we heard about nations and a sword. By now you should be able to put it
Oh.
together.
No war.
Right. No nation will lift a sword against another nation. That's what it means. 31. We learned that also in the Rambam. There'll be no wars when Mashiach comes. So that's based on the words, no nation will lift a sword against another nation. What else did we have in the Rambam that's on this list? We had in the Rambam the words, which is number 30. No, this wasn't in the Rambam, but this was in our class on Friday, that there are a few mitzvahs, that these mitzvahs are more conducive than others to bring Mashiach. One of them was tzedakah. So this is the phrase, which is number 30. How does that read? Geula tzedakah shemekareves hagula. What does that mean?
Tzedakah will bring food.
Right. Tzedakah is great because it hastens geula. So that's number 30. I want to check off all the things that we covered, and you should expect of yourself that when you look at it, you know what it means. Okay, and now we'll continue. So today we're going to do number 14 on the list. Ad Masai. That's a big word in Chabad. What is Ad Masai? So, in 1980, the Rebbe began to speak about the subject of Mashiach on a whole new level, much more intense than before. And the Rebbe said the following, that Hashem wants to hear from us that we want Mashiach. And therefore, we have to cry out to him and say, and the Rebbe used the word Ad Masai, which means, until when? Hashem, until when will you keep us in Golus? We want to go out of Golus. The children came from camp that year, and this was actually during Sukkot. The children had a rally, a children's rally with the Rebbe, and they introduced a new song. In fact, if you go on YouTube, you can probably find it. Rabbi Hecht, who is the MC, he says to the Rebbe, the children have a new song, we want to sing the new song, and these are the words to the new songs. Am Yisrael, have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now, we don't want to wait. That's how the song went. And in Hebrew, we had the word Ad Masai. So this was, I would say, the first time that the Rebbe came out much stronger about demanding Mashiach. The Rebbe always spoke about Mashiach. But if you remember that in one of the first classes, I gave you a list of certain times where there was like a turning point, something new. It was 1980. The new thing was we should call out Hashem Ad Masai. So whenever there was a Farbrengen, whenever there was a gathering, people sang the song with the words Ad Masai. There was an immediate reaction from other people, other circles, other frum Jews, that no good, something wrong with it. What's wrong with it? A lot of questions. So the first sheet in this booklet are the questions that we were hearing from other Hasidic groups, non-Hasidic groups. First of all, why is it necessary to cry out Ad Masai? We daven. In the davening, we already ask for Mashiach. So why is it important, in addition to the davening, to cry out Ad Masai? Thank you. Second thing is, aren't the words Ad Masai too strong? It goes together with number 3. Isn't it disrespectful towards Hashem to demand Mashiach? Doesn't Hashem know best the right time? He's saying to Hashem, Hashem, how long are you going to keep us there? So first of all, people said, isn't that a little bit disrespectful, saying to Hashem, how long are you going to keep us? And second of all, Hashem knows best. He knows when to take us out of Golus. So what do we mean with demanding, take us out? Just trust Hashem when the right time will come, we'll do it. Number 4, another question people said, it's all related, of course. Wouldn't it be better to use a term like we're asking Hashem rather than say we're demanding of Hashem? Demanding is a strong term. So one person could demand something of another person. An employer could demand things of his employee, of his worker. A teacher could demand things of a student. A mother could demand things of her child. But we're demanding of Hashem. Number 5, if everything Hashem does is good, why don't we apply this to Golus? Golus is also from Hashem, and everything Hashem does is good. So obviously, so what are we screaming at Moshe? Hashem knows that it's good for us. Number 6, we know the Rebbe always spoke in Yiddish. That's the Jewish language. Does anyone know what Yiddish is?
German.
So it's German or it's Yiddish?
German with Hebrew.
It's like a Nishnosh language.
A mashpash. So where does it come from?
The Rhine.
What?
It was well centralized, I think, so it was like a mix of languages, like German, Ukrainian, Russian, whatever, like Romanian language. Like it speaks.
It's like a Nishnosh sound.
Right. But what makes Yiddish different than other languages is that it's a language that was designed specifically for Jewish people to speak among themselves. In other words, I think it started, I'm not sure if it could be in the 1200s, but it started that the people would travel because of business from different countries, and they would all meet together. But one came from a country where they spoke Russian, one came from a country that spoke Polish, one came from a country that spoke Italian, different languages, and here they're all meeting together. So they created a language that Jews speak to each other in a language which is exclusively for Jews. That's why it's called Yiddish. It's based on German. Apparently, most of the people were from Germany. So it's based on German, but it's a language which is designed for Jews. Sephardic Jews have a similar language. It's called Latino, which is also a language that Jews speak, only Jews. So it has something about it because it's not English, it's not Spanish, it's not French, it's not Russian. It's a Jewish language because it was designed for that. So the Rebbe always speaks in Yiddish. All the tzaddikim spoke in Yiddish. And when they write, they wrote in Hebrew. By this, the Rebbe would in English say, we want Mashiach now. Tell us to sing it in English. And that's why they also sing it in other languages. And the question is, why? Why is this different? Another question which many people have, and it's annoying, why must we say it loudly? What's wrong with saying softly? Hashem, Ad Mosai, nicely. What do we scream? Ad Mosai. And you sing loud. What's the loudness all about? Number 8, I already said. Number 9, must we say this every day at every opportunity, or is once in a while good enough? Number 10 is the biggest question. Why is Golus such a devastating thing, as if without Geula, life is unbearable? Now, I can understand years ago when Jews were persecuted, they had no rights, or they had very little rights, and they didn't have privileges. They lived in countries that had to live in a ghetto. There were places they couldn't live there. There were in business that they couldn't do. They were sort of barred of a lot of different things. They were denied a lot of different privileges, and they were being persecuted. Their pogroms, the government didn't do anything about it. Now we live in a free country. We have all the privileges of every single person. Okay, we don't have Beis Hamikdash. We're not bringing sacrifices. But is that so terrible that you scream at Masai, meaning as if without Mashiach, life is nothing? What is it about Mashiach that to say that without, it's just because we want a few more mitzvahs? Is that what it is? Many people argue, it would be nice to have more mitzvahs like they had in the Beis Hamikdash, but I couldn't say that without that, life is unbearable. It's like, I says, if I'm not living, I can't take it anymore. That's really what Ad Mosai means. We say to Hashem every day. So if a person's Chaz V'Shalom suffering, somebody's sick, or some other kind of tragedy, we can understand, Hashem, I want this to end immediately. But let's say there wouldn't be these tragedies, just in general, things are, or let's say a person that in his personal life or her personal life, things are okay. They have what they need financially, they have health, they have good children, they have a good place of work, everything is fine. What are they screaming at Masa? Like, what's I can't go on another day without Mashiach. What does it mean? What is so intense about it? So to answer all these questions, we're going to go into a few different points here. So first of all, just what is the source that demanding Mashiach and asking for Mashiach is so important? That's number one. So the first page is where the Rebbe speaks about this point. Why is it important to ask for Mashiach? And the Rebbe says the coming of Mashiach is hastened when it's asked for and eagerly anticipated. In this spirit, our sages taught us all those thousands who fell in battle in the days of King David. There was a war that King David had, and a lot of his soldiers, unfortunately, fell, and they died. The reason was because they did not demand that the Beis Hamikdash should be built. In other words, these are people who davened, they learned Torah, they did mitzvahs. It wasn't a time where people were worshiping idols. It wasn't a time where people hated each other. All these things were good. There was one thing, though, and because of that, unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives in battle. What was it? There was no Beis Hamikdash, and they weren't begging Hashem that he should build a Beis Hamikdash. So this commentator that's being quoted here says like this: if such things and such punishment were brought upon those people for not demanding the Beis Hamikdash, and these are people that never had a Beis Hamikdash before. They had something else, something temporary called a Mishkan, but not a Beis Hamikdash. This is King David, and the first one to build a Beis Hamikdash was Shlomo HaMelech, his son. So that in our days we had when it was destroyed, and we don't lament, we don't cry about the destruction, and we don't look for Hashem's compassion to rebuild it, how much more are we accountable? And this is the reason why the righteous men of earlier generations ordained, he's talking about the people who wrote the Siddur, that 3 times a day we should daven and say, O compassionate Hashem, in your abundant mercy, restore your divine presence to Zion and the Beis Hamikdash service to Yerushalayim. And they likewise instituted the request for rebuilding of Yerushalayim in a separate bracha, B'nai Yerushalayim. And in davening, and we also have in benching. So we see that it's important to ask Hashem for him to send Mashiach and rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. So let's look in davening. Let's look at the next page. You have the Siddur, copy of the Siddur. So I really should have underlined both. One says, Yerushalayim Ircha, return in mercy to Jerusalem, your city. What does it mean, return? When do we know that Hashem returned to Jerusalem? What has to happen to know that Hashem returned to Jerusalem? It's a Mikdash. That's his home. Right now, he's homeless. He's not in the Beis Hamikdash. So when the Beis Hamikdash will be rebuilt, that means Hashem came back. So we're asking for that. The next one is Esemach David. But let's look at the words. Esemach David speedily caused the Sion of David. Does anyone know what Sion means? Descendant. No, that Siyam is a Hebrew word, and Sion with an N is an English word.
Okay, I did not hear the end.
Yeah, and the Sion means it's the same as descendant. I guess you use it more for like a royal family or something like something dignified. So it says that we're asking Hashem that the Sion of David, your servant, should flourish. Of course, that's Mashiach. Increase his power by your salvation. Then it says, we hope for your salvation all day. Which means that it's important at all times to hope and anticipate that Mashiach will come. Okay. Turn to the next page. Why in English? One's anticipation and yearning for Mashiach should be expressed in English too, as well as any language which that can be expressed for two reasons. A and B. A is in this way, all the world will know that the Jewish people want Mashiach to come now. B, there are Jews who, for many and various reasons, find this language closer to them than Lashon Kodesh. There's no time to wait until each and every Jew returns to his true language, because Mashiach has to come now. There's no alternative, and we should proclaim and cry out aloud, we want Mashiach now. So the second one is understood. You can't say, it's very important to say things in Hebrew, so let's wait until everybody learns Hebrew, and then we'll ask for Mashiach. There's no time to wait. What's the first one? Or the whole world should know. I want to explain a little bit better. The Rebbe explained like this. There were times that there were certain sages that said that this time, this generation of this time, this era, is a time that Mashiach will come, which means it wasn't a clear prophecy, it has to happen, but it means it was conducive. If we do the right thing, Mashiach could come. At the end, it didn't come, but other major things that were positive happened. For example, during the life of the Arizal, Mashiach didn't come, but the hidden secrets of Torah for the first time were revealed in a way like they were never revealed before. This means it's some sort of expression of Mashiach, but more in a spiritual way, not in a physical way. So when we say we want Mashiach now, what we're saying to Hashem is we want Geula in a way that's down to earth, visual, tangible, concrete, not in some sort of spiritual way. There's a story that I also must have mentioned in class before, and that is that in the year 1848, there's a mimer from the Alter Rebbe that he wrote. And he writes that in the future, in the year 1848, that's a time that's conducive for Mashiach to come. 1848. So it was 1848. The Rebbe at that time was the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Rebbe of Chabad, and Mashiach hadn't come. So his son, who was the fourth Rebbe, the Rebbe Marash, said to his father, it's 1848, and then the Alter Rebbe said this is the year for Mashiach. So Tzemach Tzedek said, don't you realize this year, the Likkutei Torah, which are very important Maimarim of Chassidus for the Alter Rebbe, was printed for the first time. So he said to his father, yeah, but we want Mashiach, the Gashmis, physically, technically. You want to be in Israel, you want to see Beis HaMikdash actually built. And Tzemach Tzedek said, of course, you're right. So one of the things we're emphasizing is not only we want Mashiach, Hashem should be revealed, we want it to be in the most physical, tangible, concrete way. Wars will end, there'll be no more hunger, we'll be in Israel, we'll have a Beis HaMikdash, but not in some spiritual way. We want it in a way we can touch it and see it with our eyes. So one of the reasons why we say it in other languages means it's a way of saying we want Mashiach to come in such a tangible way, in such a clear way, that even other nations who speak other languages will see that Mashiach is here. Follow? Got it? Okay.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
It's sort of like, when you say it, it feels obvious, like that you have to say it because all the other areas of like the Torah where you learn about like communication, like we had our relationship class the other day, how you have to communicate because you can't just assume what someone wants. So it sort of makes sense that like it also translates as part of life where you have to communicate
To
that
Hashem.
you want Mashiach, or
Right.
else like you get like Hashem like knows everything, but also at the same time it's like teaching you that like the power of communication and verbalize and not assume.
It's a very good comparison. Yep. Right. Now, I don't have this in English, but you could read it in Hebrew. People argue that at Mosai is a little bit too strong of a language. Until when? Like it's a little bit chutzpahdik, a little bit disrespectful to speak that way to Hashem. So does anyone in this room know what the word tikkun chatzos means? Ever heard that term? Tikkun chatzos?
Like the same word as the Torah. That's the first word.
The first word is the same word, yeah.
Changing.
Improving, changing. But it also could mean, in this context, it means a little bit different. In this context, it means it's certain prayers that we say after midnight. We don't do it. But years ago, it was pretty common, especially for people that were more learned and people of a higher spiritual caliber. They would get up in the middle of the night after midnight, and they would sit down on the floor and say certain prayers, cry over the destruction of the temple, like we do on Tisha B'Av. We do this on Tisha B'Av. They would do it every night after midnight and say these prayers. In fact, if you look in the Siddur, you can still find in the Siddur where it will tell you Tikkun Chatzos. There's prayers that we say for it. So this is a copy of one of the Siddurim that have Tikkun Chatzos. Again, these are prayers about Mashiach coming. And without going into all the details, look at the part that I underlined. Which page is this? There's no numbers here. So it's the one after 163. I think you're going too far. Oh, no, you have right there. Yeah. See the Hebrew? Yeah. The first words in every line is Ad Masai, Ad Masai, Ad Masai. These are prayers. And every prayer begins with the words Hashem Ad Masai. How long will this continue? So therefore, it's clear that to say Ad Masai is not disrespectful, and it's not the wrong word. These are the words that we have in our prayers when people daven and ask for Mashiach. In fact, even in Tehillim, you have the words Ad Masai. If you look in Tehillim, chapter 74, you'll find that David HaMelech, or whoever wrote that chapter, saying to Hashem, Ad Masai, how long will we have to suffer in Galus? So I think what you just said, Sarah, is very, very, I would say, fitting into the picture here. First of all, why did the Rebbe tell us now to ask for Mashiach and say Ad Masai? How come people didn't do this generations ago? So the Rebbe explained, generations ago, there was still more work to do to be worthy of Mashiach. We still weren't worthy of Mashiach. And now we're worthy. So I'm going to use your analogy, if we can borrow the analogy of a husband and wife, let's say. And that is in a relationship, let's say there's a husband and wife that didn't get along, and because of that, they separated or they got divorced. And the reason was because using the analogy that Hashem is the husband and we are the wife, so I'm going to blame the wife, but don't take it personal. So the husband separated and got divorced because the wife had an anger problem. She got very angry, and in anger she always did things that went out of control, things that were destructive, and he couldn't live with it, and they had to get divorced. She wants to get back again. So he says, okay, did you take care of the anger problem? Did you go to therapy? No. What's the point? We're going to be in the same place again. Calls up a year later. I really want to get back together again. Did you take care of the anger problem? No. What happens when you get angry? I break glasses, I slam doors, I scream, I shout, I kick. I broke my computer. So it's not going to work. We're not going to, it's no point. Okay, a few years go by, she goes to therapy, and now she's totally and fully in control of her anger. Isn't that a good time to get back together again? What if she never tells the husband that she's interested in getting back together again? So before saying that you're interested wasn't enough, you have to correct the problem. Once the problem is correct, now the next thing is all we need now is to know that you're willing to get back together again. And if I know that you're willing, then I'm ready to get back together again. In a sense, that's what Hashem is saying to us. Up until our generation, we still weren't sort of deserving and worthy, and we didn't correct the spiritual damage that we're ready for Mashiach yet. Being that now we're at a time that we went through so much and we've done so much, an accumulation of all the generations, how much we changed. And now we're ready to get back together with Hashem. Hashem says, I want to hear from you that you want to get back together again. That's what we're up to. Hashem is waiting for us to say, Ad Masai. By the way, as strange as it sounds, some people are not so ready to get back together again. Like they're a little bit afraid what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. What's going to happen with my job? What's going to happen with my schedule, with my friends? We'll talk about that later. But the key issue that you need in order for Hashem to say, I'm coming back, I'm taking you back into the home, and back to the Beis Hamikdash, back to Eretz Yisrael, back to our previous relationship, is to hear from us that we want it. So when we say to Hashem Ad Masai, being that Hashem wants this is not chutzpah. It's not. On the contrary, this is to Hashem the sweetest music to His ears to hear that we want to come back. That's what He wants to hear. He's waiting to hear from us that that's what we want. So therefore, this is the thing that we need to do now. The inyan of asking Hashem that we want to reconcile and come back to you and become one again. Is this understood? Okay. Now, all these things, the next pages, it's all different sources where it says how they're screaming out to Hashem and they're asking Hashem. That was one of the things that brought redemption in Mitzrayim, and that's going to bring redemption now also. So keep turning the pages until you come to the Hebrew. Maybe we should go into the other question, which I didn't touch it on. And the other question is, but isn't Golus a good thing? Doesn't Hashem know when to take us out? Who can give me a simple answer to that question? What do you mean you're saying to Hashem, Ad Masa? He knows when to take us out of Golus. What are we demanding? Right, Hashem likes when we ask.
Because you can, a positive thing, you can have it come earlier. So it's just where Mashiach is kind of like Shabbos the seventh day. You can bring Shabbos in earlier. You have to have that desire.
Okay, any other way of explaining it in a simple way?
Probably, if we ask, it's like when we ask for something, and he wants to give her a present, like on the, I don't know, like he wants to give you a present on Shabbos, as Malka says, but like then you ask, so he says like, okay, I can leave like 20 minutes like earlier.
Okay. What about the problem is that by me asking, it's as if I'm not trusting Hashem that He knows what's best for me.
I'm trusting that I'm making like the first steps to Hashem, like, I'm coming to.
How could we explain that in a simple way? As long as you're not going to say what I want.
I'm the person I want. Like it's the desire, like Mashiach, like I want.
I know, but why isn't that a little bit not trusting Hashem?
Like we said the other day, like part of the plan is the prayer.
Right. And where do I know that? Think for a second about prayer in general. Someone's sick and you daven to Hashem. Hey, what are you doing? Don't trust Hashem. He knows when to make you well. What are you davening for? We don't do that. Why? Because Hashem wants us. That's part of the plan. He wants us to ask for the bracha, and then Hashem gives the bracha. Someone has no income. His family is starving. He has no food to put on the table. He's going to daven to Hashem. Take it easy. What are you davening for? Hashem knows what to do. No, it's not true. Hashem knows what to do. But the thing is, we turn to Hashem because we know that He's the one that gives us food. He's the one that gives us parnasa. He gives us health. And the same is with Mashiach. Davening for Mashiach doesn't mean that I don't trust Him. It means Hashem wants to hear from me that this is what we want. And then He brings Mashiach.
So there are two ways, like from Him and from us.
That's right. It's coming from both ends.
Like
So everything you said before is correct. I'm just showing a simple source where you can see that the davening for something doesn't mean we don't trust Him. That's what davening is. All the davening is about that.
Like, why do you want to give someone a good present if they're not going to appreciate it? Hashem wants to know we're going to appreciate it.
we have some extra presents, like when Moshiach comes, so we ask and do we have like extra presents?
Okay, for you, we'll have an extra present.
I mean,
I'll put it in the computer, a special a card.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see what we're like, you know, like the classic like movie scene where there's two people in a field running toward each other. Like if, like I feel like that's what I'm picturing, because like if I'm you at the other end of the field, I'm gonna wait for you to get to me. So it takes so much longer. So if you both run and you're in the middle, then it happens.
Right,
Like that's what you're saying, right?
right. Yes, Malka.
2 months, 1 day, 12 hours, 42 minutes, and 56 seconds. Yeah, that too.
She's showing us how you have to wait for Mashiach.
No, Rabbi, I pestered to get time taken off, and I did get a week, so like, it's kind of like Moshiach up in here. I'm like, Rabbi, I'm like, I'll take a week off.
Say something, it'll make it happen.
Sooner.
Yeah, so then you're like, all right, I'll take a week off for you.
Okay, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. A good Shabbos, everybody.
It's all
I like how that's also how I hear words that I don't know.
How?
Then you finish the rest of it. That's how I hear
In school,
Like I know how it goes, but I don't know what it is.
Jaya, ¿qué? Ay, literal, hace 1 minuto. Ah, dice que ya no necesita al final. ¿El domingo tenés?
¿A qué hora está el domingo? ¿A qué hora se qué hora?
Creo que de 9 o 10 a 2 de la tarde, o algo así.
Ah, no es muy poco. Yo creo que trabajo. Ça vient maintenant, au dessus.
Tá, amanhã nós vamos lá, não posso amanhã. Depois decidir quando vai casar.
Sure, where's Sarah? Where's Sarah? She's probably sleeping. Yeah. So she's gonna be on the
You have Gemara now?
Не, ну тут заходишь, ты реально набираешь.
Never class was recorded. I don't think they record. Yeah, because on the YouTube channel, there were only men. Hey.